Welcome to Season 3 of Sunday Conversations. Thank you for your continued support. Get ready as we embark on this year's journey of great content. Sit back, enjoy, and delight yourself with these conversations.
Be a beaconing voice for you to whoever it is that I am to reach. I ask you that you give me the proper words to say at the right time to impact them into their purpose, into their God-given purpose. That's my prayer every morning.
That is a beautiful prayer. I love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah. A lot of people, I think, are probably confused about what I do, because
Why?
I think sometimes I post things, I used to, back in the day, have all these structured posts and it's like, we're only going to focus on mental health. We're going to focus, like, you have all these things that you kind of set your mind to do. And then I felt like it was just not authentic. It was just not me, because I'm kind of random sometimes. Sometimes I want to just post a video of people dancing, or post a video about relationships. I don't want to talk about mental health and trauma all the time. Right. And but I wanted to make sure that my page was still very congruent to kind of my overall message. But a lot of times people don't even realize that I'm a mental health counselor. They don't, that I'm in the mental health profession. They don't realize it. They don't know that I, used to be a young adult group leader in my church and was very involved. That I was, I've been ordained as an evangelist and ordained as a prophet, like things like that. They just don't know. And so,
I just learned that one too.
When people, they have no idea. And so it's kind of good to remain inconspicuous in those type of areas, just because you can surprise people and just walk into something without people expecting something from you because there's a title attached to it. Just living and people receiving whatever it is that they need. So that's kind of where I'm at in this season. Yeah.
That is so true. I love it when people ask me, what is it about you that I see you, like, I see you here, but you do it differently. What is it about you? That is the avenue for me to speak God's word. I even have a atheist friend, and listen, the brother would challenge me so much about Christianity and even just Jesus Christ as a whole, right? I would never forget the very first time that he said something, and I could hear the Holy Spirit said, "Don't say nothing, because you don't debate a fool." I said, okay. So I never said anything, but the life that I lived in front of him later on, when this brother sent me a message, and it was so heartfelt, and I was like, that's what I'm talking about. When you can live the life in front of people, right, and they get to see you live, and they get to see you live and walk out the committed and exemplary life of Christ in front of them. When they eventually come back, they actually leave you those messages. That's when you know that you are tugging at them about change. And I truly believe the word when it says that that one plants the seed, one waters, but God gives the increase. Yep. So yes, so it's all about being available and allowing God to use you. But I also think that Christianity should be a blast. We should be living our best life as
absolutely.
Christians.
Listen, you see me, I live my life. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Girl goes out, girl goes to eat, girl hangs out with friends. She just does whatever she wants. I don't violate the laws that are governed for me to be able to stay within, but I do have a blast. I enjoy myself, and I think that as believers, we end up being in this place where we're so stuck. We feel like we should be sitting in the church pews all day long. No, there are other ways to be able to be a light that does not always involve you just sitting in a church pew and acting holier than thou and then going home and being crazy. So I know that God has given me a life to be lived out in fullness. I didn't suffer this much to not live my life. I'm sorry.
Exactly. So, okay, since you brought that up, because, for years, people would, pastors would say, church is here in these four walls. This is church. Now that we are out of COVID now, how do you feel that COVID impacted the idea of church being always at the building?
Well, COVID, first of all, reminded people that we have the internet. Right?
True.
So people don't have to necessarily be inside a building to experience the presence of God. And then also COVID made people realize that their pastors were probably really terrible. And so when you get to taste and see that the Lord is good in another church online, then you're like, dang, I've been really missing out. You know, what I've been stuck in these pews has been religion or whatever spirit is operating in there. And so now I'm getting to experience something, and growth is happening here. That tells me that I don't need to be in a building every single Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is, Wednesday night Bible study to experience the presence of God, that my life can change from anywhere. And that's really, in my opinion, the way for us to experience the omnipresence of God. Okay. The fact that he is able to transcend through the airwaves of the internet and people experience him and still have their lives change. I think people have just more clarity now and they're able to make better decisions because of COVID. I think COVID was very necessary. It was very strategic. I think that God allowed it to happen in a major and mighty way. I believe that it was a plan of the enemy through the inner workings of what I'm not going to get into a political discussion right now, but God used that to be able to allow people, the church, to be disrupted and disbanded so it can be and deconstructed so it can be put back together according to his purpose. So yeah.
Yes. And I think that we forget that the great call of God when he said, "Go ye therefore into all the nations, baptizing in the name of the Lord." So, which meaning that when we get filled on that Sunday, on Sundays and Wednesdays, on Sundays when we receive the word, we're supposed to take that word, go back home, study it, and then go out into the world and actually reach. And then on Wednesdays, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whenever your church chooses to have it as our Bible study, you know, and that's just a refill so that you can turn around and go right back out. And I think that the complacency of the church as a whole, the complacency of it is that it's just me, my church, and mine, and then am I good? And so I agree with you, you know, that COVID broke that up, and I agree that it was a restructuring of the church, and then even it showed several ministries, thousands of ministry of where that they were pigeonholed at and forgot about the airways of what could be reached. So I'm definitely there with you. So how have your life experiences challenged you as a parent with your background of being human trafficked, sexual abuse, and rape? How has that challenged you with raising your son?
You know, it's taught me to protect them through prayer. Because as a mother, there's only so much that you can do to protect your children. And then of course, his dad as well. There's only so much that we can do to protect our children, especially because they're spending a huge bulk of their day in school and with influences that are outside of the home, right? And so, and of course he comes from two homes, so it's that much more divided and him having to kind of get different influences. But what it's taught me is that I need to protect my child. And the best way to protect my child is through prayer. That prayer is the only thing that will allow me to be able to let my child live out a life that is completely different from what I experienced, but everything that he deserves and should be able to have in this lifetime. It's also taught me that I need to have grace for my son, that I should let him enjoy life and let him live a lavish life. When I say lavish, it's not spoiling your child, giving your child every single thing that they want, but it's really letting them enjoy every single moment. Carpe diem, as we'd say, right? Seize the day. I want him to be able to seize every single day of his life and not feel as though he is on this earth tilling the ground, you know? He has a parent who is capable of giving him things, who's capable of loving him in ways that the world may not be able to love him, you know? And so I do my best to be able to pour all of that in to him. The main thing being, your home should be the first place that you really know and experience what true love is, so that you don't go seeking it out in the world in all sorts of wrong ways. And so that's essentially how it's the main things that it's challenged me as. It's through teaching him what true love is, and also allowing him to really seize the day and then protecting him.
Okay, so are you teaching him his African roots?
Of course. Oh yeah, definitely.
Has he learned French?
He is learning French actually right now. He loves languages. So the kid taught himself how to read hiragana and katakana for when we went to Japan. He just decided to start reading Japanese, and he was reading signs everywhere when we're in Japan. Like that's just how he is. And so he's in his French phase right now, and he cracks me up because sometimes he'll, of course, I'm part of a large community of friends, and my closest friends are like family to me, and we're all African. And so he's always, trying to use this little African accent. He'll do his little, but I don't want to do that. Nah, and I'm like, you have to stop trying to be, what is wrong with you? Mixed boy.
He's code switching.
He is code switching, and it's hilarious. He's like, Mom, I don't want that. And I'm like, Aiden, no, you have to stop it, But it is so cute when he does it. His little accent is so adorable.
Okay, so early on in his childhood, were you super protective, or could no one come near him outside of you and his father?
Yeah, for the most part, I was very, very protective, just because I think that as parents, we trust people too much sometimes, especially family members. We assume that the interest that we have in our child, which is our best interest, that everybody else has that as well. True. And so we allow our children to go into places and spaces that they have no business going. And then abuse happens. And then we find out later on, oh, the babysitter did this. Oh, the person down the street did this, or the next door neighbor that you went in. And it's like, I don't want to be that parent who my child says, you hired somebody who then hurt me. Okay. When I have the resources and the capabilities to not put him in those positions, right? Okay. Now, I understand if a person's limited and does not have family that they really trust very well, or not have the opportunity to really make sure. But if you have that opportunity, you still allow yourself to let your child just go wherever and stay the night different places, that's not acceptable. My child did not stay the night at all at anyone's house until he had a cell phone to where he could call me. I gave him a cell phone. I think it was like he was 9 years old or something. I was like, and he was literally, I was down the street doing overnight business stuff, and he stayed at one of my closest friend's house. And he could call me all night, and I know them extremely well. But when he was really little, he pretty much was with me all the time. I would tell my friends, if my child can't go, I can't go. So he was with me. So yeah.
So, have you given him the tools to what to look out for? If you notice this, be cautious.
Absolutely. That started at a very young age. Just because, look at the world that we live in. You have to prepare your children in that way. Unfortunately, it's sad that we have to teach our kids all that stuff. Because they're just so young, they should be living their lives and playing around and having a blast. But no, I have equipped them and told them the things that he needs to be very mindful of and all of that, just so he does not end up in some situations that could be avoided. So
that's true. And I definitely agree with you, because my son's mother and I, we prayed for the people that we had to watch him. When he was a newborn, we had this elderly lady that worked at the daycare. When I say that she took care of our son, she took care of him. And then when he was a year old, I think he was a year old, he went with one of the sisters that was in the church at the time, and she only had five newborns, plus her own son. And so then he had to start going to daycare. And that same daycare that the elderly lady had him, is that she also had him when he was 2 years old. So he only spent, his first 3 years of life in our daycare. After that, it was all home until he went to start school. So yes, I definitely agree. And then we had to teach him that too, so our thing was teaching our son every single thing that we felt that our parents should have taught us. And so I definitely agree with you, because you got to put those safeguards in there. You have to put them in there. And so we will always teach our son proper words is penis, it's vagina. Like you guys need to say this. I'll never forget the time that we actually one day he was in class and something was wrong, and then he went to the teacher and said whatever the teacher named. Look, my penis is itching, and she was like, Mr. Davis, your son said a bad word. Like, what did he say? He said penis. What? Are you serious? Penis is not a bad word. That's exactly what it is. It is not whatever that you want to call it. It's his penis. And if you're offended by him saying penis, then that's your fault. He will continue to say the word penis, So,
but a lot of the times, unfortunately, when kids don't know those words, people who are predators introduce other words, and the kids don't know that that's actually what's taking place. And so, I'm glad that you taught him that and that he knows. And my son knows every single word as well. You need to know what's happening with your body so that you can, So anyway.
Exactly. Any final words?
The main thing I would want to say is really that people should be very intentional about their healing journey and their process, right? I know for me, like, the main thing in my life that I've seen is that I was not very focused on that until I had to be. And so we shouldn't have to wait till there's a crisis or there's some sort of tragedy for us to go and get the help that we need. And so that is for divorce, that is for past trauma and abuse, it is for your career, it is for anything. Don't wait till you absolutely have to or till you're in a crisis to go and get the help you need. If I would have really focused on my healing and my health consistently and not just thought, everything's fine, I probably would not have entered my marriage, and I probably would have, had a different life experience as far as that's concerned, And so it's very important for us to get the help that we need before crisis happens. So.
Now you gave your final thought, then this question came to mind. And I think it's very appropriate. So let's hit this question real quick. Was there a grooming process that your dad did? Because I heard you say that he tried to do it to somebody else, but did he do it with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So can you talk about things that you can watch out for that our audience can see? Hey, watch out for these grooming techniques. Can you talk about those?
Yeah, well, grooming comes in so many different ways, and it depends on also the type of situation, because there's grooming within churches with spiritual leaders, there's grooming within the workplace, grooming, in households and all of that type of stuff. And so for me, it was introducing me to sexually explicit things at a young age. It was, kissing me on the cheek. Then it was like, oh, we should kiss on the lips. And it's like, I'm too old to be kissing you on the lips at this point, but trying to normalize things that are not normal, things that are not appropriate, normalizing things that are actually very perverse. And so a lot of the times people who are grooming, they're going to try to make you feel that certain things that are not okay should be okay. They start off very, early on asking you a lot of questions about yourself or trying to really find out about who you are, especially when it's adult grooming, there's so many things, but those are kind of the main things for me. It's just like, what is what are they introducing into your life that is out of alignment with what normalcy is or what you would typically do, right? And then also, I don't know. It's that one's a very tough one, especially with kids. If it's with kids, they might give you money or something. They might, tell you that they can help you a certain way. Even sometimes with adult women, you might have someone who's like, oh, you need your bills paid. Let me help you with this and da. Well, they start to now help you all the time, and they know that you're destitute, and they start taking advantage of that. And then by the time you realize that you're compromised or in a position where you've been sexually assaulted or hurt, but now you feel terrible because you were taking money for that person, or somebody was helping you with this, or whatever it is. And so now how does a person go, oh, I was abused, when this feels kind of, what I mean? So there's so many different techniques that people who have that predatory mindset do. At the end of the day, it's watch out for predatory behavior. People who are taking bits and pieces and parts of you that don't belong to them.
Okay. And see, one other question came. I promise this is the last one. Give me two things of that a person that accepts someone into their home as far as foster, give us 2 things that that would be more helpful of attending to a child that's in foster care.
Maybe number 1, I would say, is getting the child true mental health care, like actual making sure they're going to therapy every weekly, especially if the person has a history of trauma, getting them mental health healthcare. And then also, I would say is making sure that you are showing unconditional positive regard and unconditional love, if possible, as much like love as possible for the child. A lot of the times kids are coming from homes where there isn't love, they feel unworthy, and now they come into a foster home where they feel like they're just another addition or burden to a person. And so being able to love a foster child well is so important for their healing and their growth.
Yes, I've heard about how that when a foster child has been through several bad homes, that when they come to a good home, they don't know what it looked like, and it's like that you're trying to break down every single bad home that they've come out of to get them to understand that, hey, that you're safe here.
Yep.
So definitely. Also, I definitely want to thank you for being a part of Sunday Conversations. It has been truly a blessing. And look, and we just tipped the iceberg to who you are.
Barely scratched the surface.
Yes, we barely scratched the surface. So it's so much more, but I can't wait, because as we begin to build our friendship even more, I know that I'm going to learn so much from you, so much. And then as you talked about trauma and unpacking that, I've been going through my unpacking process as I start thinking about things even more about mine. I'm like, wow. So now and I can talk about the grooming that happened to me, because back then I didn't know what grooming was back then. So now I could talk about that. But I definitely thank you. And I'm so glad that you and I are in this thing building. So I can't wait to see you, because I'll be in your state in the month of May. So I'll definitely hit you up to let you know that I'll be there. So hopefully we can get our face-to-face meet with one, because you always got some good restaurants out there to go to, because I get to see you post them. So so I definitely
a foodie. So
yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yeah. So, but thank you again, Elsie, for being here and talking about your sexual trafficking trauma and every single thing that you've been through that have created the pathway of becoming the woman that God has destined you to be. I just want to say thank you.
It is my pleasure, and I'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thank you for watching Sunday Conversations today. I hope that you've enjoyed my conversation with Elsa. Look, like I said, we just touched a tip of who she is. The woman is tremendous in every single thing that she does. So hopefully I can get her back later when she's doing something else. But as we go through, but I hope that you learned something, especially when it comes to grooming, about the grooming process of when someone wants to sexually assault you, or if they're trying to human traffic you. And at the end of this, I will post some information of places that you can contact if any of this is happening to you. First and foremost, you can definitely dial 911, and you can and you can say things that would trigger the 911 operator of that you are in distress, and by using code words that they'll know exactly what that you're talking about. But until then, come back next week. We will have another exciting episode of Sunday Conversations. Until then, this is your boy Ike. I'm out. Peace.
Thank you for watching Sunday Conversations. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next week as we continue to bring you relevant content. Remember, God has a purpose and a plan for your life. Live life intentional.